guys, so I'm gonna tell you the story about how I told my parents I got into medical school. Now, I found out that I got into medical school in 2015 right before Thanksgiving. I was literally just lying in bed when all of a sudden I received an email, and the email was from Texas Tech Paul L. Foster School of Medicine in El Paso. I had just interviewed at that school and I absolutely loved it, and that was kind of weird that I was receiving an email. So I looked at the email and it basically said, oh my gosh, congratulations, you have been accepted here. If you want to be here, we're giving you an offer to match at our school. And I was like, oh my gosh, this happened. I got into medical school, and many of you know how absolutely difficult it is to get into a medical school, let alone get a pre-match into a medical school. I was so excited because for once in my life I could breathe, and I felt like I accomplished something very difficult, getting into a medical school. I was so excited. I had to tell everybody, and so the first person that I could think of that I wanted to call was my mom. But I didn't want to tell my mom just yet. I thought that it would be better if I surprised her. So instead, I called my dad. And I'm like, hey dad, I got into medical school. And he's like, what? Oh my gosh, no way, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you, daughter. Everything you do has always made me so proud of you. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, whatever. Because when you tell people you got into medical school, it's kind of, in my opinion, your time to shine. This is a very hard accomplishment of yours. You should be so proud of yourself. I just feel like any parent would want their child to grow up to be smart, driven, good, staying out of trouble. And now, not only that, but your child is also going to be a doctor. Now that is a proud parent. The next person I called was my little brother. And I said, hey Seth, which is my little brother's name. Hey Seth, guess what? I just got into medical school. And Seth was like, no way, that's awesome, what? And you know, this is coming from a little brother who's like never happy for me for anything that I do, always telling me that I'm ugly and gross. And even he's excited. He's like, oh my gosh, America, that's awesome. Whoa, what, have you told mom? And I'm like, no, I haven't told mom. How should we tell her? I kind of want to surprise her. He's like, oh, okay, well maybe we can do something at the Thanksgiving dinner that we're gonna have. Because we have Thanksgiving with my mom and her whole family every year. And so I was like, yes, that's a great idea. So right before the Thanksgiving dinner, me and my brother concoct a plan that we're going to take a group picture, and that's what I'm gonna announce. Oh my gosh, guys, guess what? So we go into the dinner, and the dinner is a pajama theme party, so we're all wearing pajamas and everybody's there, and my heart is pounding. I'm so excited to tell my whole family. I just feel like everyone's gonna be hugging me and telling me how proud they are. And you know, I'm not usually the star of the show, except for maybe on my birthday around my family. So I was just super nervous and excited because I didn't really know how everyone was gonna react. And I was just so filled with nerves. I was a big mess, but I somehow got the courage to say, hey everybody, let's take a group picture really quick, you know, for our pajama party. And everyone was like, oh, okay. So everyone gathers around, and one of my aunts goes to take the picture, and me and my brother are like, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna surprise everybody. And I was like, okay everyone, 3, 2, 1, I got to medical school! Everyone's just kind of like, huh? What? Who? What? What's going on? You did what? And I was like, oh, I got into medical school. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, oh, wow. You know, I get some weird like half-hearted hugs, and my mom, the first thing she says to me is, well, medical school did you get into? And I was like, I got into Texas Tech in El Paso. And then my mom says, oh, I don't even like that school. And she walks out. And literally my whole family walks out of the room. And I'm just like, what just happened? My little brother even left me. I'm like, what the heck? Why did everyone just left? Nobody's even gonna ask like what school I got into, or where I'm leaving, or when I'm leaving, or what classes I'm gonna take, or what kind of doctor I want to be. No one even wants to know. So I was literally just sitting in the dining area where we took the picture, kind of like stunned, because everyone left me. Everyone went to the kitchen. It was so weird. I can't even explain it. I go into the living room to kind of just like sit down all by myself, right? And then out of nowhere, my aunt's boyfriend comes up to me and he's like, you got into medical school? Oh my freaking, what medical school? And I'm like, El Paso. And he's like, oh my gosh, you know what doctor you want to be? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And he keeps asking me all these questions. He's like, oh my God, can you show me the school? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I Google the school and I show him the pictures and he's like, oh my gosh, is this where you do anatomy? And I'm like, yeah. And it was just so weird because my aunt's boyfriend was asking me about my school and the classes I'll take, and he was congratulating me. And then it was kind of weird because no one else really cared. And like, I say that because he's like my aunt's boyfriend. And I mean, I really appreciate that he was there for me at the time. I really, really do. But you know, it would have meant more if it was like my aunt or like my mom, especially. He kept saying, oh my gosh, you should be so happy. You should be so proud. And I think I was just so filled with nerves and so stunned. And he kept just telling me that I should be so happy. And I was just so unhappy. I was so embarrassed. I was so just, I thought that everyone was going to be proud of me, and I'm sitting alone on the couch. And it just seemed like, I don't know, it was really embarrassing for me because I really thought that this was going to be like one of those memories I'll have forever, and instead it was one of those memories that I just wanted to forget. Like, I wanted to get out of the house and pretend that it didn't happen. We took that group picture, right, and I literally like deleted that picture because it's literally me with the most awkward face ever and everyone else with the most awkward face ever, and it was just like the worst picture ever. I completely deleted it and I never want to see it again. But yeah, he just kept telling me, you should be happy, you should be happy. And I wasn't happy, and I literally started crying in front of him. Because like, my mom wasn't there. Nobody cared. Nobody like was happy for me. And I know what you're thinking, America, you know, not everyone has to be happy for you all the time. You're not always gonna be the star of the show. I know that. It's just that I built that moment for me telling my family that I did something that I was really proud of to be so big and monumental to me. And it was like the complete opposite. Like, my mom wasn't even speaking to me, and it was just really shocking and embarrassing at the time. So I started crying in front of him, and I ran to the bathroom and started crying like crazy, and no one even checked on me. I was in there for like 20 minutes and no one like asked where I was or if I was okay or what was wrong or anything. I don't know what the heck. I don't know what happened. But I ended up texting my brother, my little brother, and I was like, look, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go back home. So this Thanksgiving dinner party was at my aunt's house. So my little brother dropped me back off at my mom's house. My brother didn't even talk to me in the car. He didn't even like say, oh dang, that was weird. Like, why was everyone being so quiet? No, he just didn't talk to me, just like everybody else was. They weren't talking to me. So I was in the car and I literally cried the whole 30-minute car ride back home. Now you guys, just a disclaimer, my family is awesome. My family is always there for me. I have the best mom in the world. I don't want anybody to think that my family sucks or that my mom sucks. Like, this is literally one of the biggest flukes in my entire life about why my family kind of acted this way. But anyway, my little brother drops me off at home and I cry in my room. You know, the first person I wanted to call was one of my best friends from high school. Her name is Leanne, and she's one of my best friends, I think, in my entire life. So I call her and say that I really want to talk to somebody, if I can come over and just vent a little bit. I don't really tell her anything too specific. And she's like, yeah, of course, come over. You're always welcome. And so I'm like, okay. So I drive to her house. And I'm like, hey, what's up? She's like, hey. She can kind of tell that I'm crying a little bit. And she's like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And I tell her, you know, Leanne, like, I just found out that I got into medical school. And she like stops me. She's like, what? Oh my gosh, you got into medical school? Because I hadn't told her yet, and I completely forgot that I didn't. And she starts crying. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. She starts crying. And I'm just like, what the heck? This is so crazy. She's like, I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. I don't know why, guys, and I don't want to sound like selfish or anything, but it felt so good. Not to hear her cry, but to see someone care or to see someone happy about my accomplishment. She reminded me that what I did was very, very special to somebody. and she just made me feel loved again and special. And I really, anyways, it was a very, very thoughtful memory in my life that I'll never forget. How much better she made me feel. And so I really thank her for that, because she stayed up with me and I got to spend the night with her. And by the time I woke up, I was totally over what had happened the day before. I wake up to this text from my mom, and she's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm at my friend's house." She's like, "Okay, can you come home? I'm really sorry about the way that I acted yesterday and I want to apologize to you." And I was like, oh my gosh, this feels so great. You know, my mom's gonna apologize to me and she's gonna make me feel so special, and she's gonna give me the gratification that I've been wanting to hear. And so I come over, I'm on my bed, and she comes in my room and she's like, "Hey daughter." And I'm like, "Hey mom." And I think one of the first things that she says to me is, you know, she sits down on the bed and she goes, "So you really thought you were gonna be the star of the show last night, didn't you?" And I was just like, okay guys, let me just say this. I have birthday parties, but other than that, I don't think I'm a big, it's all about me guys, attention seeker 101, you know, I'm gonna tell everyone my drama and I'm the center of attention, and you know, like, I have low self-confidence, okay? I am the opposite of self-confidence. And then my mom's gonna tell me that, you thought this was another one of those times where you were gonna be the big star. And I lost it. I was so mad. Like, how could you tell me that? And we literally get into another big fight. And I'm like, "I'm your freaking daughter. I did something so special and so hard, and you're gonna literally be mad at me for no reason?" And then she's like, "Screw you," and she walks out the room. And I'm like so confused, guys. Like, you don't understand. I don't understand where this anger is coming from. Not only are people not as happy for me as I thought, it's anger that I'm feeling. My mom is literally not speaking to me at this moment, and I have no idea why. And so I start crying again. I run out and I pack all my things and I go back to Austin, where I had lived at the time. And I had literally started driving for 30 minutes from Houston to Austin when my mom calls me again and she said, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Can you please just come back home?" Half of me is literally like, "You know what, screw you. I don't need anybody in my family right now. Y'all aren't there for me when I need you. I'm out." And then there's half of me that says, "You know, America, if you leave now, it's only gonna get worse. Like, if you go back to your mom, maybe it will get better, but it definitely can't get any worse than if you ignore her and go back to Austin." So I drive back. I literally turn my car around and drive 30 minutes back. So it was an hour of wasted gas. And I drive back to my mom's house. And my mom's just like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm acting this way. Why do you have to get into a school that's so far from me?" If you don't know Texas geographics, El Paso is all the way to the west and Houston's way closer to the east on the coast. My mom was just really upset of the fact that I got into a medical school that was about 1,000 miles away. I mean, look guys, I'm not a mom. I don't have a child. I don't know what it feels like when your child wants to go to school 1,000 miles away from you. I'm not gonna pretend to act like I understand what she went through or what she felt like, but she said she was sorry. A few hours later, she took me and my little brother and we went out to eat at this super fancy restaurant, and she bought me champagne because I was 21 at the time, and she was so proud of me. And she told everybody that I got into medical school. She even went to my orientation for Texas Tech El Paso. She even told me, "Wow, I like this school." And she got really sad about it because she didn't want me to move so far away. She went to my induction ceremony when I got into medical school and when I graduated from UT Austin. My mom has always been there for me. She's always been my #1 fan since I was born. It was just such a weird event in my life. Like, my family is really awesome, but their reaction was literally one of the weirdest memories I have in my life. So basically guys, the moral of the story, I think, is you have to do medical school for you. You have to do things that you want to do for you. You know, I'm in medical school now, and my mom isn't the one who takes my final exams. My dad isn't the one who's got to take the step 1 USMLE exam. My parents aren't the ones who have to study for 7 days straight for an exam. They aren't the ones who have to take all my quizzes. They aren't the ones that help me study. They aren't the ones doing this. I'm doing this. And if you're doing this for your parents, you're gonna realize that. It's you who has to live this life. I didn't go to medical school for my parents, but one of the reasons was kind of to make my parents really proud of me. And guess what? My family's reaction was like the most unfulfilling reaction ever. One of my favorite quotes, even though it is kind of sad, is when you're a child, you're worried about what everybody thinks about you. When you're an adult, you don't care what other people think about you. And when you're old, you realize that no one was even thinking about you. And I know that sounds kind of sad, but in a way it's very liberating. Nobody thinks about you as much as you do. No one's gonna be as ashamed as you are. No one's gonna be as happy for you as you are. You have to do the things that you want to do because nobody cares about you as much as you do. Do what you want to do and do it for yourself. You may realize that when you accomplish your goals, nobody even cares except for you. That's honestly one of the most important life lessons I've ever learned. And I know it's not the happiest life lesson, it's not what you want to hear, but it's kind of the truth. So please guys, whenever you do something, do it for yourself, do it because it makes you happy. And with that everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you learned something from my story and that you'll think about it in your future endeavors. And I hope that all of you have a wonderful holiday. Bye everybody.